the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Chisel is absent tonight. Neal?
Hi. Here.
Carlson?
Here.
Luce?
Here.
Bergen?
Here.
Hadley?
Here.
Johnson?
Here.
Okay, public comment. We've got a couple things, but first on the list is Christina Welchin with Decorah Area Chamber of Commerce Visitor Guide.
Good evening.
Hello.
I am very excited to finally share this labor of love with everybody. So also one of our first opportunities to really unveil and roll out publicly the brand that we've been working on. It got posted to the Visit Decorah website today as well. Just some background information. It is a partnership with the Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development. You'll see that within the very early pages. We did print 29,000 from our original 30,000 plan because we had to add 4 pages. So to offset that, we backed off on the printing a little bit. And also just some background, when the visitor guide has been done in the past, it's been a straight up expense for the Hotel Motel Marketing Committee to the tune of about 6,000, I'm sorry. We will net in the 5,000 neighborhood on this project for the chamber, which isn't as much as we've done on some other publications, but it's new, it's different, and so I think going forward there's room for more opportunity in that. I would just note a couple of things and then allow you guys to move on with your agenda. We put a lot of thought into what other things we were mailing out to people when they called or that we're frequently giving them in the visitor center, and what could we include in this guide to help save on shelf life for other publications and those printing costs, and then just mail that one thing to save us some postage as well. So that's why we included the Trout Run Trail, the Prairie Farmer Trail, and the Off-Road Trail maps. Those standalone publications will certainly still serve a purpose, but it is nice to just have them in here as well. There are 9 business spotlights in here, one kind of per category. We'll circulate those, work on getting spotlights done on other businesses. It's good content for us in other places, social media and other publications and things as well. So you'll see that addition. Lots of good photography, because there's no shortage of that talent in the area as well. And smack dab in the middle of the book is this community bingo. So we'll see how this works out, but hopefully it helps to encourage some more commerce as people visit. And if they're close to getting a bingo, maybe it gets them to go someplace that they might not have gone otherwise. And a chance to win some chamber dollars with that, and maybe return visit. Yeah, so those are just a couple of highlights I would very quickly pull out of here for you. We did use Letterworks, actually both for graphic design and printing. We bid both of those items separately. They just so happened to get the award on both of those this go around. Cubic did consult with the cover and then the ad on the inside back page too. So questions or comments about anything that now that I've
nice.
just literally handed you the book?
What do you see as the shelf life?
I really hope to get 18 months shelf life out of it.
Thank you.
It's a big project when we do them all internally, so 18 months is the goal.
Is it also available online in the same format?
It'll be a PDF download online. It just got added to the Visit Decorah site today. The Visit Decorah website will be the first thing we tackle in 2020.
Christina, how broad is your distribution?
Yeah, so this week, if I get some help, logistically, we didn't have room for these in our facility. We're working on that. Rotary just built us some fabulous shelves. It's great. But all the guides are out at Stanley Engineered Fastening right now. So logistically, not great. But hope to get them to 20 visitor centers, welcome centers within the state, and then Southeast Minnesota and the La Crosse area. We'll mail a lot of those right now.
Was that placement based on Cubics feedback, or was that
It's
historical?
I don't have a lot of historical data. We just don't. So there's a lot of things that we're really working on recreating. So now in mailing these out, we'll keep track of where we mailed them, how many they got, and when do they call to request them again, right? But some of the state visitor centers it's out of season for them.
Oh,
But we will continue to work on getting these out in a variety of places, including locally. So getting them to hotels prior to this weekend, being a big weekend in town or in the area as well. So, yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's really nice.
Yeah, we're very
Yeah.
proud of it. So, but if you have any comments or questions, feel free to give me a call or stop by.
Very attractive.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Okay. Andrew Ellingson requested a comment.
Thanks for the opportunities to speak tonight. I wanted to come tonight to publicly thank the Decorah Police Department. 2 weeks ago on November 18th at 1:30 p.m., I was walking across town on my way from a lunch meeting with music teachers from Northfield, Minnesota, to another meeting at John Klein Elementary. As I was walking down Water Street, a car pulled up next to me, rolled down their window, and shouted, "Nice haircut, faggot." I was stunned. Not because this has never happened, and not because it's never happened to me in Decorah. I've been verbally assaulted by cars driving by me 2 other times in the past 9 years. But it's never happened in broad daylight, and it's never happened in the heart of downtown. I fumbled with my cell phone as quickly as I could and tried to get a picture of the car's license plate, but I was too slow, and the car turned the corner and drove away before I could get a photo. While being verbally assaulted on the street in broad daylight is not something any of us want to believe can happen in our town, I'm endlessly grateful to live here, where I did not have to question whether or not it would be safe to call the police department. Small towns generally do not have a reputation of being open and supportive to the queer community, but Decorah is not a typical small town. Thank you to Chief Smutzler, thank you to former Chief Nixon, and thank you to every member of the police department. Every time my husband or I have had to call after being verbally assaulted, having our car and garage egged, or having the pride flag ripped off of our home, the Decorah Police Department has responded efficiently and compassionately, and we're grateful. Having city institutions publicly defend minority communities makes our town safer for everyone, and I'm thankful to the police department for being a safe place we can all turn. Thanks.
I really appreciate you coming before the city council.
Yep.
And reporting that with the police. At our last community forum up at Luther, where we were looking at the race, are we so different? We had conversations such as that, as far as in that type of setting, to be able to help others to be able to at least reply back on behalf of, say, yourself or whatever the case may be, so that we're making people aware of who's acceptable, who's not, and how we need to treat each other. But I really appreciate you coming forward.
And I truly thank you, police department. You're amazing. So,
Okay. Thank you. Andrew.
Thank you.
And then we have, Kristen, you have someone to,
So for a number of months now, you've been hearing me talk about our children's and young adult librarian position opening and hiring process. And I am very pleased this evening to be able to introduce to you Rachel Shea Button, our new children's and young adult librarian. Rachel took on her new role at the beginning of last week, so she's been very busy learning the ins and outs of our library. She is familiar with the Decorah area, so that's certainly helpful, but she did relocate all the way from Washington State to be here with us in Decorah and at the library, and we are very grateful to have her. So I hope you'll have a chance to meet her if you haven't already, get acquainted, talk to her a little bit about her vision for the library and the future of children's programming. And I just wanted to bring her here tonight so that you could put a face with a name.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And hopefully if you all are in the library, you can stop by, say hello. I've been really enjoying getting to know some of our younger and youngest patrons and their families, and just getting to learn what this community is excited about in terms of literacy and children's programming at the library. Thanks.
It's nice having you here.
Yes. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Okay, is there anybody else who wishes to speak to the council on anything that is not on the agenda?
Just to let Rachel know if she doesn't want to hang around, she doesn't have to.
Yeah, that's right. Or Andrew. Okay, consent agenda.
Consent agenda consists of minutes of November 18, 2019 meeting, claims, change order number 1, final 2019 East Broadway Alley Improvement Project in a deduct amount of $4,780.17. Partial pay estimate number 3, release of retainage for Decorah 2019 East Broadway Alley Improvements in the amount of $5,007.95. Item E, consider an agreement with WHKS Engineering for 2020 bridge inspections. Resolution 3022, adding streetlights to Glenbarth Circle. And item G, consider C3 commercial design review for 128 West Water Street for third floor window replacements.
I move the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Any discussion, questions, comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Bergen,
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Carlson.
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Public hearing on proposal to amend City Code Title 16 pertaining to subdivisions. And, do you have background on that?
I do.
Okay.
So this is Title 19 labeled subdivisions, and it generally works through the process of creating preliminary final plats, what improvements shall be considered for subdivisions in the community, and it has been since at least 1993 when this section was last reviewed and updated by the city. I did initiate a review process with the Planning and Zoning Commission. They spent at least 2-3 months reviewing the code section. We spent some time with staff looking at updates as far as best practices, or in the time since the last code revision, the city has adopted SUDOS. We looked at ADA compliance issues and those types of things to incorporate that language or best practice. There are several sections that are being updated or amended. I guess at this point, all that's in the Dropbox, so I would just ask if there are council or public comments about some of those changes or amendments.
So I'll open the public hearing. Are there any comments about amending City Code Title 16 pertaining to subdivisions? Hearing none, I'll close the public meeting and move on to considering ordinance 1241, amending City Code Title 16 pertaining to subdivisions, first reading.
Chad, it's fair to say that all of the editorials have been addressed in what you
We
gave
have
us.
a track change version. Is that what you're
Yeah.
referring to?
In the track change version, yes.
Thank you.
And what Steve is referring to, there were several sections throughout the code where staff had interjected comments. For example, one of them is the life of a preliminary plat, and that was a question. And so what's in this update or revision is a 10-year life cycle for a preliminary plat. If the final plats of the subdivision are not built out and approved, then the preliminary plat would be considered expired and would need to come back to planning and zoning for restatement. That would be one of the questions that we worked through.
Even if part of it is built out, right? The additional parts that haven't been,
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for especially the larger subdivisions to have a preliminary plat and then maybe move through in 2 or 3 or 4 final plat additions or phases. That entire preliminary plat as initially approved would have a 10-year shelf life.
But it is being recorded now, correct?
And we're asking them to be recorded as well.
I'd make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 1241.
Second.
Sorry, who got that?
Emily can have it.
Any Discussion or questions? Roll call.
Hadley,
Aye.
Carlson,
Aye.
Luce,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Bergen.
Aye.
Pass, that'll be the first reading.
Did just want to comment thanking the P and Z for their work on bringing this forward.
Consider approval and certification of 2019 residential tax abatement applications. Would you like to review those?
So there were 4 additional that came in since the last time the council considered the bulk of the applications for 2019. You see them listed there. There are 2 single-family applications, 601 Stapleton Drive and 1013 Walnut Street, and there are 2 additions or improvements to the single-family. Both of these instances were remodels, one at 607 Stanwood Drive and 412 Twin View Drive. And I would just remind the council on those remodels or improvements, as long as they increase the value of the home by 10% or more, they're eligible. But that final determination on eligibility and the assessed amount lies with the county assessor to make that determination.
Okay. They must have further thoughts as they're reading, maybe.
I'd move acceptance of the tax abatement applications.
I'll second.
Discussion or questions? Roll call.
Luce,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Carlson,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Bergen.
Aye.
Appointment to boards and commissions. I'd like to reappoint Janelle Pavlovec to the Zoning Board of Adjustment.
I move to approve the appointment of Janelle Pavlovec to the Board of Adjustment.
Second.
Any discussion?
Thanks, Janelle.
Thank you.
Janelle.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle. Okay. Roll call.
Bergen,
Aye.
Carlson,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Motion pass. I want to remind the public that there is an opening on the P and Z. If you're interested, you can get applications through City Hall. There is also one online. And I will look towards that second meeting in December to hopefully maybe fill that position. City manager, department head, and council reports.
And I would add regarding board and commission seats that because so many of the boards and commissions have expirations throughout the year, at different times of the year, we tend to not put out one big notice for available seats, but they are all listed on our city website. And I actually have a list in the Dropbox and with me here of all of the boards and commissions. So if there's interest at any time, I would encourage residents to submit an application. We keep them on file. As positions become available, we submit those to the mayor from time to time. So if there's interest there, I encourage folks to look that over. There's also an article or a handbook, I guess, if you will, on our website, published by the League of Women Voters some number of years ago that describes all of the duties for all of our boards and commissions, and that's a real good resource. Or people can just come and see how a meeting works. The only other thing that I have to add is that our low rent housing authority program is merging with Upper Explorerland's housing program by the end of December now, the end of this calendar year. And a letter is going out to participants in the program this week describing that transitional merger and promoting an open house that we'll have here on December 18th for those folks that are in the program or that are just interested in learning more about the program.
What time is that on?
I'll get some information out to
Okay,
you. I
that
have
sounds good.
a release of information we'll get out. So
Okay.
And that's all I have.
That'll go in the paper too as a press release?
Yes.
Okay, department heads, and please use the microphone. Thank you.
We've been staying busy with the dispatch center yet. Today we kind of finalized the 2080 agreement between Sean Snyder, who's the EMA administrator, Sheriff Dan Marks, and myself. We turned that document over to the city manager, the mayor, and the city clerk, and the city attorney today to get their thoughts on it before we submit it to the city council, so you'll be seeing that shortly. We also made a job offer to our new dispatcher, and she turned it down upon the offer. We don't really have many candidates to go on, so I think we're starting all over again shortly. All the test results came back on our 2 police officer candidates today, so we gave them notice that they can go ahead and give their formal 2 to 3 week notice, whatever that is. I'm hoping that in about 2 or 3 weeks we can have those officers here for their swearing.
Passing the buck over there, I think.
I am finally very happy to announce that well number 7 is. Yes, we finally passed some tests here last week. We put it online back last Friday. And after all maintenance and repairs and everything else, picked up between 150 to 200 gallons embedded in that well, which is back to the original flow when it was originally put in the early 70s. So that's very good.
Good.
I'd like to report that the railing has been put on the steps at Dunning Springs, basically the last step of that project. So after 3 years, it is finally complete.
Yay!
Yay!
We had a couple street patching projects the past 2 weeks. Otherwise, most of the projects are on hold till spring. And as such, we are in full winter mode right now. So leaf pickup has ended. The Yardway site is still open and will remain open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
We're going to do something different up here. We're going to start with Jerry Jones, who is joining us from Luther as the Student Senate representative. Can you tell us just a bit about yourself?
Okay, for sure. So I'm Jerry Jones. I'm from Des Moines, Iowa originally. I'm a triple major, English, philosophy, and political science. I'm also on the football team at Luther. My work study is pretty interesting. I give tours of Luther. So I'm like really involved at Luther, Decorah City Council liaison on Student Senate. I love Luther a lot. And yeah, in regards to Luther, do you want me to give you updates what's happening right now?
That'd be great.
Okay, so yeah, that was just a little introduction. Basically what's going on at Luther right now, we know Christmas at Luther's coming up. That's pretty much the biggest thing. That's all I really have to say from the 5th to the 8th. So expect a bit more traffic here in town. And yeah, that's all I have as of right now.
Will you be around during J-term?
So as of now, yes, but
Okay.
that may change.
Okay. We won't hold you to it then.
Thank you.
I might as well just go down the line. Kurt, you got anything?
Nothing.
Okay. Russ?
Nothing at this time.
Yolanda? Steve?
So I don't know what our process is, but I had heard a significant explosive sound the other morning and got feedback that teachers actually took the kids inside, not knowing what was going on. So I'm wondering what our process is about the public being notified of any type of blasting or various things happening to be aware so that they don't.
Can
Okay,
we talk about that, if that's all right for a minute?
sure.
That came in that they're
Trying
going
to
to
get
be
the
blasting at the
microphone.
Madison Quarry.
'Cause I think there's other people who might be interested in that.
A call came in, they were going to be blasting at the Madison Quarry. I was going to put it on our Facebook site and got distracted by something shiny between the dispatch center and my office and didn't get to it. But we did also have a 21-gun salute for a military service, and we put that out over Facebook. We've put quarry blastings out over Facebook before, and we'll continue to put the notice out, not just on Facebook, because I know that kind of hits a certain group of people, but also more news releases, and I'll do better about that.
Okay.
I wonder if using the school alert system, letting them know for sure, as they have a population that's, shall we say, vulnerable. The teachers were quite adamant about getting the kids inside, I heard, because of the concern about this big noise.
The challenge will be educating those that are doing the blasting, and, you know, whether it's in the city, a permit would be required. If it's outside the city, I don't know what permitting process they would have or who they would notify. But we will work on communications maybe with those that are known to own quarries or blast, and then trying to tie that to city, county, and school officials.
It did sound like they notified Dave too, so.
I spoke with a friend who is kind of familiar with the blasting and whether or not you hear it or not. Most of the time, you won't hear it here in town, but on that particular day, there was a fair amount of moisture in the air, and it caused us to hear it very clearly. It sounded like a shotgun in the backyard of Luther, but it was way out in Madison, so.
I'd say more a cannon, but yeah. I did attend the Municipal Leadership Academy session down at Fayette for the first session to sort of get a re-up. I had been through it once, but it was very insightful, and one of the first items they suggest for a new council or any council is to each year set goals. And having just us gone through our city administrator's performance evaluation, I think it would be insightful for us to have goals that then we could, at the end of the year, see how we did with what we wanted to achieve and have some reference points about where are we at. Are we anywhere near this one, or, you know, where? So I would encourage us to plan a work session the end of the year, since there's a lot of Mondays at the end of the year. Or if nothing else, one of our January meetings may not be real busy, to work that in, to be able to set up some goals for us.
I wonder if, like, city council people could think of the goals that they would think, and then just send those in too prior to any of the work sessions, so.
Then I had a question, Mayor. We heard at the League of City meeting on the leadership session, they did a sort of a role play of a city council and set up some scenarios that, you know, members walking in a half hour late and different things that weren't that helpful.
Oh, yeah.
But one suggestion they had was that the procedure for a public meeting actually be posted in the room so people knew what expectations were for them being involved. So I think usually after an election, we do a review of our council procedures. So if we could get those available to people to be able to look at what makes sense here, what needs to be altered, what might be a better scenario. Personally, I think having a scenario in our meeting platform for calling work sessions would be a good addition to add in. But I think that would be an insightful plan for us.
Yeah, I think I had heard that too, and I think they just had also just listing and had additional copies playing around for people to be able to pick up too.
Yeah. Well, and maybe not the whole procedures, but just
No,
a
just-
one page that could
Just
be.
as far as the meetings and.
It was very interesting at the Municipal Leadership Academy when they were talking about open meetings and public meetings and various things. Seemed like several of the newly elected persons weren't aware that a closed session, you needed to ask people to leave. So they said, no, we just usually just tell people it's closed session and go ahead. Which was quite an interesting way to handle
That was
business.
worth going for, to listen to something about that too. Anything
That's all,
else?
Mayor.
Nothing
at this time, Mayor.
Emily?
Let's see, first I just wanted to say that, was it 2 weeks ago? No, a week ago. I finished touring, except I still have to get to the water treatment plant. But I went to the water department and the street department and learned all about what goes on there. And I have to say, this Thanksgiving as I thought of the things I was thankful for. I'm very thankful for all the employees that work for the city.
Here.
And going around and seeing all the hard work in all kinds of weather that you folks working for us do to make sure our city runs smoothly and effectively. I just wanted to give a giant shout out of thankfulness for all that our employees do for us. It's pretty impressive. So thank you, and thanks to Chad for taking me around. For sure, it was a great introduction and fabulous way to get to know Decorah. Then the other thing is that we are now on what I'd say the dissemination of the sustainability to get feedback plan. It is in draft form. Today it was sent to all task group members. The city council has received it. Department heads, you should have also received that. And we are looking for feedback. And it is a draft, and we really want comments, but I'd like to see if we could get a work session with council scheduled to talk about the plan, ideally before the end of the year. And I think one thing that maybe wasn't said in the email, but as I'm starting to get feedback, I think that's important, is that there are a lot of actions in the plan, and I would say that many of them are already ongoing. So I wouldn't look at the whole plan as like, this is all new stuff. Actually, a lot of it is ongoing, and the idea is that we want to be able to wrap the things that we're doing, the things we want to do, and the things we dream of doing, into this vision of sustainability related to those 8 themes. So I do want to put that out there. And the other thing is to know is that nothing's prioritized, right? It is sort of it's not random, but there's no like, this is more important than that. So as you read through the plan, please don't think that anything is more important than the others. So if we could get a work session sooner than later, that'd be great.
I think we could orchestrate that because we don't start the budget sessions till in January, correct?
January.
Okay, that sounds good.
Other than that, that is what I have. So,
Okay.
thanks.
I really don't have anything either, other than it was exciting to go downtown today and see there's 3 store windows that have electric trains in them. But I'm not going to say where they are because then you won't go down and look. But I thought that was really cool.
I think we did want to offer kudos to the mayor for her work in helping keep the Social Security office local
you.
here.
Thank you.
That, I was so appreciative of the work that was done there. That was not right. And they were very emphatic that they would be keeping it open with face-to-face contact.
Great.
And then just a quick reminder that we do have a street committee meeting right after the meeting.
Okay. Anything from you, John?
No, I attended the Iowa Municipal Attorneys Association meeting a couple weeks ago, and that's always an informative
Was that a legal gathering?
It is a legal gathering. It's not an open meeting, though. So I'm on the board of directors for that, so I always appreciate the fact that Decorah does not have a lot of the problems other communities have. So.
That's cool. What's it called then?
The Iowa Municipal Attorneys Association.
Attorneys Association, okay. Okay,
The IMTA.
with that, anything else? Christmas
Oh,
parade,
yeah.
6 o'clock, Thursday night. Me too. Oh, hey,
With
wait.
the lights on, right?
we didn't have anything from I guess they went back in. He was here. He didn't have anything this morning, I don't think, though. Him being Darren. So, okay, with that, anybody want to
Adjourn.
adjourn us?
Yep, move to adjourn.
Okay, thank you very much.